So good morning everyone. My name is Abhay Singh and I welcome you all in today's video analysis of the Hindu. Today is 6th of September 2024 and we'll start with the first news headline for the day. And so before moving into the first news headline for the day, we'll discuss a few important vocabulary words. So today we're going to discuss two important vocabulary words. So please pay their attention towards these two vocabulary words. The first word is incarceration. Now, incarceration. Now, before going into this particular word, let me show you where this word have been used in the newspaper. So, this particular word has been used on the page number one, and the word is incarceration. Now, we have to understand the meaning of incarceration. So, incarceration means the act of putting someone in jail. Incarceration. So recently, Supreme Court of India has used this particular word in the in this particular case in the Kejriwal's bail application. This particular word has been used by the Supreme Court of India. The synonyms for this particular words would be the synonyms for this particular word would be imprisonment and confinement. So these are the two synonyms of this particular word: imprisonment and confinement. Now moving on. Now next important word that we have today with us is nascent. Now what do we understand by nascent? So the word nascent means emerging and arising. Now you can say a thing that just came into existence. Something which is in the very early stage. Something which is in the very early stage is called the nascent. So these are the two important words that we have to discuss today. First one was incarceration, which means that the act of putting someone in jail. The synonyms for this word would be imprisonment and confinement. Whereas nascent means the thing which just came into existence, and the synonyms for this particular word would be emerging and arising. So we have discussed important words. Now we'll move to the first important news headline for the day. And the first important news headline for the day is related to the the Supreme Court judgment. Basically, Supreme Court of India has reserved its judgment in the Kejriwal's bail application. So the judgment have been reserved by the Supreme Court of India, and during that particular hearing, Supreme Court of India has said so many things to Central Bureau of Investigation, because in last 1 month, Manish Sisodia got bail from Supreme Court of India. Then uh, the PA of Arvind Kejriwal, Mr. Vibhav, he also got the bail. Now, the judgment related to Arvind Kejriwal's bail application have been reserved by the Supreme Court of India. And during this particular hearing, Supreme Court of India has pulled up CBI and said that they cannot play the game of snake and ladder. They cannot play the game of snake and ladder. So whatever is there, they have to present it clearly before the Supreme Court. So this was just and this was the news from the first page. And the main argument which was given by the Central Bureau of Investigation in the Supreme Court of India is that Arvind Kejriwal should go to the trial court. If he wants bail, then he should go to the trial court. When this particular argument was given by the Central Bureau of Investigation, then this particular argument, then this particular argument was given by the Supreme Court of India that please stop playing this game of snake and ladder. You cannot ask the accused. He is yet to be declared a convict. He is yet to be a convict. He is accused now. So you cannot ask any accused again and again that you should go for bail to this specific court. Should go to bail for this specific court. You cannot do that. Now the second important news that is coming is from the a Public Accounts Committee. Now, the Public Accounts Committee, which is headed by the Lok Sabha MP KC Venugopal, has stated that they will basically conduct the audits of regulatory bodies established by Act of Parliament, such as the Securities and Exchange Board of India. So basically, this particular Public Accounts Committee, which is headed by the Congress Lok Sabha MP KC Venugopal, they have said that they will hold a performance review of regulatory bodies established by the Act of Parliament, such as Securities and Exchange Board of India. Then we have UGC. So this Public Accounts Committee will, hold a performance review. Now, the next important point that we have to discuss is the recent visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Singapore. So after visiting the Brunei, the next stoppage for Prime Minister Narendra Modi was Singapore. Now, when we talk about Singapore, then we have to discuss one of the most important policies. Please excuse me. So we have to discuss one important policy when we talk about Singapore, and that basically this particular policy is the highlight of this particular visit, Act East policy. Now we have to understand the important facets of this particular concept, Act East policy. So first of all, let's understand what is this Act East policy, and was there any forerunner of this particular policy, Act East policy? So Act East policy, was preceded by Act East policy was preceded by Look East policy. So now these are two policies, Look East policy and Act East policy. Now Act East policy has replaced Look East policy in 2014. In November 2014, this particular Act East policy has replaced this Act East policy had replaced Look East policy. So this is one news that is important for us. Now, what is the difference between this Act East policy and Look East policy? This is also very important for us to understand. Then only we can, then only we can get the sufficient knowledge that what was the main idea of this Act East policy. Because under this particular policy, the only names have not been changed. Some, serious changes have also been made. So this was Act East policy. Then we have Look East policy. Now this Act East policy was launched in 2014, and Act East policy is an upgraded version of Look East policy. This is one important thing that you have to keep in your mind. Now, this Look East policy was launched in 1992 by P.V. Narasimha Rao. It was launched in 1992 by P.V. Narasimha Rao, and it was upgraded as Act East policy in November 2014. Now, Look East policy was mainly focusing on South Asia. So, if we talk about Look East policy, then Look East policy was all about South East Asia, and it was limited to only economic integration of Southeast Asia. Now, what is the difference between Look East policy and Act East policy? So, Act East policy AEP 2014. So, this AEP mainly focuses on Southeast Asia plus East Asia. So, this AEP, Act East policy, mainly focuses on the two parts, that is Southeast Asia and East Asia. Now, the second important point related to this AEP Act East policy is that it mainly focuses on security and economic integration. Whereas this Look East policy was mainly focusing on economic integration. Now, this Act East policy is focusing both on security and economic integration. Now, this particular Act East policy is mainly based on four principles, or we call them four C's. So, this Act East policy is based on four C's, and what are these four C's? First one is culture, then we have commerce, then we have connectivity, and lastly we have capacity building. So these are the four C's. These are the four C's of Act East policy: culture, commerce, connectivity, and capacity building. So this is all about Look East policy and Act East policy, which is important for us to discuss. We have seen important things related to this particular news item. Now, in during this particular visit to Singapore, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met his counterpart, Mr. Lawrence Wong. And during this particular visit, very few very important memorandum of understandings were signed as well. Now we have to discuss only two things when we talk about this specific visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Singapore. We have to discuss only two things. The first thing was that that including one on semiconductors that will help in supply chain resilience for semiconductors. So the first MOU was related to semiconductors, and the second thing that is very important for us is that a first Thiruvallur Cultural Center of India will soon open in Singapore. So basically, there was this Tamil poet and philosopher Mr. Thiruvallur. So Mr. Thiruvallur के नाम पे एक कल्चरल सेंटर इस्टेब्लिश करेगी इंडियन गवर्नमेंट इन सिंगापुर just to celebrate the 60th year of bilateral relation between India and Singapore. So this is one important thing that we have to understand, that there will be the first thing which was discussed was the semiconductor thing, and the second important part which becomes very important for us is that India is going to open a cultural center in the name of this Tamil poet and philosopher Mr. Thiruvallur in Singapore to celebrate the 60 years of bilateral ties. So the bilateral ties of India and Singapore were established in 1965, and India was one of the first countries to recognize Singapore. So India was one of the first countries to recognize the Singapore in 1965. Recently, 60 years will complete. So on the completion of the 60 years, India will establish a cultural center in Singapore. So this was from page number one. Now I'll move to the next important facet of today's newspaper. So after a long time, it felt that we are actually covering page number one. Usually, it used to take 3 to 4 minutes to cover page number one. So now another important aspect that we have to discuss is basically related to this Assam Accord. Now, what are these? What are the important things that we have to discuss under this Assam Accord? So recently, the Assam government had decided that it will implement the recommendations of the it will implement the recommendations appointed by the it will implement the recommendations of the panel appointed by the Ministry of Home Affairs. So now we have to discuss what we are talking about, what we are talking here exactly. So first of all, we have to understand about this particular panel which was appointed by Ministry of Home Affairs. So Ministry of Home Affairs. So this is just factual information. You have to remember this information because questions are usually asked from the factual portion only. So Ministry of Home Affairs set up a panel in 2019, and this particular panel was headed by a retired High Court Justice Mr. Biplab Kumar Sharma. Now, in 2019, this particular panel was appointed by Ministry of Home Affairs, which was headed by Mr. Biplab Kumar Sharma, and main task of this particular committee or this panel was to apply clause 6 of Assam Accord. Now we have to understand the meaning of clause 6. What do we understand? What is this clause 6 of Assam Accord? So clause 6 of Assam Accord, which was signed in 1985. So Assam Accord was signed in 1985. So basically clause 6 of Assam Accord clearly states that, constitutional, today's newspaper is going to take a bit more time because of there is a lot of things, there is a lot of important things that we have to discuss. Constitutional, legislative and administrative safeguards should be should be provided to protect preserve three P's: protect, preserve and promote the cultural, social, linguistic identity and heritage of people of Assam. So basically this was clause 6 of Assam Accord, which was signed in 1985. And for the implementation of this particular clause 6, the Ministry of Home Affairs has constituted a panel in 2019, which was headed by Mr. Biplab Kumar Sharma. And now now the Assam government had decided that it will implement the recommendation of this panel, which was headed by Mr. Biplab Kumar Sharma. It will implement most of the recommendation of Mr. Biplab Kumar Sharma's panel. Now the demand from the opposition is that, the Assam government, which is headed by Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, who is the Chief Minister of Assam, they should release the recommendations of the they should release the recommendations of the Biplab Kumar Sharma panel, which was constituted in 2019. Now the main objective of Assam Accord, which was signed in 1985, was just to eject the illegal foreigners from the state of Assam. And for that particular purpose only, clause 6 of Assam Accord becomes very very important, because clause 6 of Assam Accord clause 6 of Assam Accord basically, provides safeguards to the local people of Assam, or to the people of Assam. It provides safeguards, not only safeguard, it provides constitutional, legislative and administrative safeguard to the people of Assam to protect, preserve and promote their cultural, social, linguistic identity and also their heritage. And why this particular kind of assurance is provided? Because of a very simple reason. A lot of foreigners were living illegally in this state of Assam, so that's why they have threat. They have kind of a threat that, their indigenous culture, their indigenous identity is in danger. Now to protect that particular indigenous identity and, the linguistic and cultural rights and values, clause 6 was inserted in Assam Accord. And for the implementation of clause 6, Ministry of Home Affairs has constituted a panel in 2019, which was headed by Mr. Biplab Kumar Sharma, who was a retired High Court Justice. Now Assam government, which is headed by Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, had decided that it will implement all the recommendations. It will implement not all the, but it will implement 85% of the 85% recommendations of the Biplab Kumar Sharma panel. They will implement 57 recommendations of the Biplab Kumar Sharma panel. Now this particular thing is become so heated. It become a point of contention, because the opposition is raising a clear point that, this is the right time when Assam government should reveal that what were the recommendations of the this Biplab Kumar Sharma panel. So this is one important news that was important for us to discuss. Now I'll move to the next important part of today's newspaper. So there's a lot of things to discuss today. There is a lot of things to discuss today. So these again, these two news are very important. One is related to this recent defamation suit which was filed by Asian News International (ANI) against the Wikipedia, and the second is basically related to the HEMA committee report, HEMA panel report. So we'll cover first thing first. So Delhi High Court on Thursday. So Delhi High Court on Thursday, while hearing this particular petition which was filed by ANI against the Wikipedia, they basically, they gave a very sharp statement, and the statement was, I quote and unquote this particular statement, quote, if you don't like India, please don't work in India, unquote. So this particular statement was given by the Delhi High Court, and this particular statement was given to Wikipedia. Now they have clearly stated that if you don't like India, please don't work in India, because High Court has demanded, in Wikipedia, you have this particular feature that a subscriber can edit the information about anyone which is present on Wikipedia. So High Court was basically demanding, the name of the subscriber or the details of the subscriber who have changed the information change the information about the Asian News International (ANI) on the Wikipedia page. So Wikipedia was not complying with this particular direction of the High Court, and in response to this particular thing, the statement was made by the High Court. If you don't like India, please don't work in India. And also the subscriber who have edited this particular page of ANI on Wikipedia, basically he have stated that ANI is a propaganda tool for the incumbent government. So it was a kind of a defamatory thing. So subsequently ANI filed a defamation suit against Wikipedia. Wikipedia was summoned by Delhi High Court. Now Delhi High Court has grilled Wikipedia as well, because they were not able to provide the information of the subscriber who have changed the information about the ANI on Wikipedia page. Also, they changed the information of, now this news is also very important. So the after this particular report which was released on 19th of August 2024, now now this Kerala High Court has constituted a special bench of two judges, Mr. A.K. Jayashankaran Nambiar and C.S. Sudha. And the main task of this particular bench is to hear public interest litigation petitions, uh, which were filed in the High Court after this particular report, after the report of HEMA panel was released on 19th of August 2024. So this is also very important. So we are moving into the editorial part as well. So we are moving into the editorial part of the editorial part as well. In editorial part, we have to understand, this particular article mainly focuses on one of the important aspect of Indian democracy, not Indian democracy actually, but India's demographic structure, this PDS scheme. We are going to discuss about this public distribution scheme. Now, now this particular article is authored by Ritika Khera, who is a professor of economics at IIT Delhi. Say this particular article is well written, well explained, and it has a lot of factual information as well. So academically and for the examination point of view, this particular article becomes very important. Now, before going into this particular article, you have to understand one thing, that this public distribution system, PDS system, was launched a long ago. But if somebody asks that when TDPS, now what is the meaning of this TDPS? So what is this meaning of TDPS? TPDS. So it is a targeted public distribution system. Now this I'm not talking about public distribution system here. I'm talking about targeted public distribution system, which was launched in 1997, and this particular TPDS was solely focusing on poor of this country. So that's why it was known as targeted public distribution system, because this was targeting the poor of our country. So remember this thing. in India, targeted public distribution system was launched by Government of India in 1997 to mainly focus on the poor of this particular country. Now let's dive deep into this particular article. Now, when we talk about this particular article, there are certain facts which are very important for us to understand. When we talk about public distribution system, what do we understand by leakage? What do we mean by leakage when we talk about public distribution system? So this is the first important thing, because this whole article is mainly focusing on the leakages. So basically, idea the main meaning of leakages is given right in the article. It is in the third paragraph. Leakages. Leakages refer to the proportion of PDS rice and wheat released by Food Corporation of India that fails to reach consumers. Now, this very thing we can understand. Suppose Food Corporation of India (FCI) has released 100 kg of wheat. Now, FCI has released this 100 kg of wheat, but when it reached to beneficiary, because of various issues like the storage issue, then we have spillover issues, then we have incorrect measurement issues, then we have climatic conditions, then we have this a lot of transportation issues. So a lot of grains are lost because of all these intermediaries. So finally, the Food Corporation of India has released 100 kg of weight, but when it reached to a beneficiary, it was 78 kg. Because of various intermediaries, 22 kgs got lost. So the leakage is 22%. The leakage is 22%. Now I hope you must have understood the meaning of leakage. Leakage is basically the quantity of food grain, the quantity of grain that failed to reach the final beneficiary. So 22 kgs of grain failed to reach the final beneficiary. So the exact percentage is 22% of leakage, right? So this is the meaning of leakage. Now let's dive deep into this particular article. We have to do a lot of reading today. We have to do a lot of reading today, because this is not a philosophical article where we can, you know, create something of our own. Now this is one very factual article when we have to read line by line and explain you things. So now the nervousness stemmed from the poor record of the PDS. According to National Sample Survey data in 2011-12, at all India level, leakages were at 41.7%. So in 2011-12, as per the data of National Sample Survey, the leakages in India were at 41.7%, which means that if Food Corporation of India is releasing 100 kgs of wheat or any grain, then only 58.3 kgs grains are reaching to the final beneficiary. That's why the leakage is at 41.7%. The main argument in favor of continuing with the PDS was the states that had undertaken PDF reforms had witnessed major improvements. Now, the major arguments uh, for this particular scheme, a public distribution scheme, is that and the states which has taken a PDF reforms have seen a lot of improvement. For example, between 2004 and 5 to 2011-12, in these 6 to 7 years, there were certain states in India like Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha. In Bihar, the leakage went down from 91 to 24%. In Chhattisgarh, from 50 to 9%, and in Odisha, 76% to 2%. Now, this is possible because of a lot of hard work was done by the states. The states do understand the importance of this particular public distribution system. Now, in 2022-2023, in 2011-12, the leakages were at somewhere 25%. In 2011-12 only, this overall leakages were at 41.7%. So in next 10 years, so in 2022 to 23, the leakages were down from 41% 0.7% to 22%. So this is it took a lot of hard work from both central government and state governments to reduce this particular leakages. Now we have understood the meaning of leakages. Now we have already done the meaning of leakages. What is the leakage? Leakage basically means we have already covered it, but again I'm explaining it again with only one objective because it is important. So leakage means Food Corporation of India जितना grain release कर रहा है उसमें से कितना पहुंच रहा है, और जो डिफरेंस आ रहा है दैट इज योर लीकेज। मतलब वो पूरा इंटरमीडियरीज में, लॉजिस्टिक्स में, क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशंस की वजह से, उन सब चीज़ों की वजह से जितनी चीज अन्न नहीं पहुंच पाया, 100 किलो, फूड कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया ने 100 kg ग्रेन रिलीज किया और इसमें से सिर्फ 70 kg ही बेनिफिशरी तक पहुंच पाया, तो 30 kg क्या हो गया, लीकेज हो गया 30 kg का। ठीक है। So this is the meaning of leakage when we talk about public distribution system. So a lot of hard work have been done by various authorities and institutions to reduce this leakages. Now, during the reference period August 2022 to July 2023, PDS ration card holder were getting NFSA grains, 5 kilograms per capita per month for priority households and 35 kg per month for Antyodaya households. Now, so this particular author has taken a reference period of August 2022 to July 2023, and during this particular period, a person who is having a ration card, he will get 5 kilograms of per capita. Now, what do we understand by 5 kilogram per capita? So suppose there is this family X, and in that particular family there are five people who are living in that, who are the members of that particular family, five members. So that particular family will get 25 kg of grains, 5 kilogram per capita means per person. So in addition, they got Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana grain until December 2022 when PMGKY COVID-19 relief was discontinued. So these are the various things which are important for us to understand. We all know that during the times of COVID-19, Government of India has launched various schemes to provide a free ration to the needy people. One of the schemes was Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana (PMGKY), which was continued till December 2022, and it was discontinued in December 2022. Now, it is worth bearing in mind that these are estimates and the best possible with available data. Any mismatch between offtake and purchase is attributed to leakage, though there could be other reasons: transport losses, lacks in supply, and so on. So basically, there's leakages are caused by a lot of issues, but in India, if there is any difference, if there is any difference which is coming when we match the data, when we match the data of grains which is released by the Food Corporation of India and which actually reached to the final beneficiary, everything is attributed towards the leakage, कि जो भी problems हो रही हैं सारी leakages की वजह से हो रही हैं। ठीक है। Now, why underestimate some states run an expanded PDS, providing PDS gain to non-NFSA beneficiary using central contributions. Now, some states in India are also running this expanded public distribution system, and under this particular expanded public distribution system, this states are basically providing benefits to those beneficiaries as well, which are not covered by this National Food Securities Act 2013. So using central funds, various states in India are providing grains to those people, those citizens as well who are not authorized to get these benefits under National Food Securities Act 2013. Now, Chhattisgarh Food Security Act was passed in 2012, made the PDS quasi-universal using local procurement. The All India leakage estimate of 17.6% to 18.2% are underestimates because they only take into account central contribution and not the state contribution. So basically, the data we are seeing in front of us, that 17.6% to 18.2%, the reference range which was given to us is 17.6% to 18.2%. Now, this is a leakage of central sponsored scheme. Now we have understood that various states in India are running this expanded PDS system. So this particular leakage is not showing that particular thing. ये जो अभी हमें 17.6% से लेकर के 18.2% का रेफरेंस रेंज मिल रहा है, ये लीकेज हो रहा है सिर्फ और सिर्फ जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से स्कीम स्टार्ट की गई है। अब अगर हम लोग इसमें जो स्टेट्स का भी कंट्रीब्यूशन है, अगर हम उसको भी ऐड कर दें तो ये चला जाएगा 22% पे। और इसीलिए अभी आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, अभी आप लोगों ने लास्ट टू लास्ट पैराग्राफ में देखा कि 2022-23 में कितना लीकेज था, 22%। और 2022-23 में जो सेंट्रली स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम थी उसमें 17.6 से 18.2% का लीकेज था, और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट में ऑलमोस्ट रहा होगा 3.8% का। इसीलिए क्यूमुलेटिव में मिलाकर के कितना हो गया है, 22% का लीकेज। ठीक है अब इंडिया में एज ऑफ नाउ 10% इंडियंस आर दे बेसिकली 10% ऑफ द इंटायर इंडियन पॉपुलेशन is getting the benefits as a non NFSA beneficiary. So इंडिया में 14 करोड़ लोग ऐसे हैं जिनको as per this National Food Securities Act 2013 उन्हें benefits नहीं मिलने चाहिए. But state governments are providing them benefits because of due to by using their local procurement. So this is a lot of things that we have to understand that when we talk about leakages because under this public distribution system the central government is responsible for providing food grains to the people who are actually authorized under this National Food Security Act 2013 but there are various states in India which found that there are certain communities in their states which do not fall under this National Food Securities Act 2013 but yet they face the shortage of food so to counter that particular issue, state government provide enough food to those persons also. So when we talk about the leakage at all India level, then the leakage at 17.6% to 18.2% in 2022 to 2023. But when we add this contribution of states, then it comes to 22%. Now impact of NFSA on PDS coverage. So now we also have to understand what is the impact of a National Food Securities Act on a public distribution system coverage. So one of the major PDS reforms included in the NFSA 2013 was an expansion of PDS coverage that was aimed at reducing exclusion errors but had a spillover effect on reducing leakages. In 2011-12, before the NFSA, less than 50% of households had ration cards, and the proportion of household getting anything from the PDS is around 40%. So before the National Food Securities Act, things were not good in India. 50% household, less than 50% of a household have the ration cards, and only 40% of the people, 40% of Indian population was getting the benefit of public distribution system, eligible population. So these were the things. That's why we needed this National Food Securities Act, and also this was a kind of scheme which was providing a kind of social security that at the end of the day they have this assurance that they won't sleep hungry because the government has provided them food by utilizing by using this public distribution system. Now now this particular author had discussed so many things that what are the reforms that were introduced by the various states in India. So PDF reforms were introduced by Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and various other states. Now the reforms are basically the PDS prices, a doorstep delivery of food grains, a digitization of records and ration cards, deprivatizing management of PDS outlets by handing them over to panchayats and self-help groups. So these were the various kind of reforms which were brought by the various states to make this particular to make this particular act more effective to make this National Food Securities Act 2013 more effective. Various states like Chhattisgarh and Odisha have brought various changes in their policies. Now when we talk about then again we will come to this PDS leakages. Now many believe that the integration of Aadhaar, especially Aadhaar based authentication, led to the improvement in the PDS. So in India, the Aadhaar card has become the universal solution for every problem. Literally, if there is a fault at the policy making level, then I don't understand why Aadhaar card is the solution for everything. Or we know this is not good actually that we are dependent on one document and at such level that when you talk about anything in India, your Aadhaar card is compulsory or is mandatory. Even if you want to, there is nothing called basic. Even if you want to get a SIM card, you have to give your Aadhaar card. Even if you want to open your bank account, you have to give your Aadhaar card. Now, this is important, this is necessary, but for everything, Aadhaar card is necessary. And I always say that is government ready to, is government capable of protecting the data which it is taking, and what will be the responsibility of these third party beneficiaries which are actually involved in protecting this particular data. And if there is any kind of breach, who will take the responsibility? Either the government of India or the third party apps or companies which are basically taking the responsibility on the behalf of government. So at the end of the day, these are the things that are very important for us to understand, but we will not digress ourselves from the topic. So these are the things that you have to understand, that leakage and how things have changed, how this whole NFSA came into existence, then various kind of schemes. Then we have next important article. We are not going to deal this particular article in very detail. I will tell you gist of this particular article in a jiffy, and we'll move to the next important part of today's newspaper. See, this we have to understand. We have to understand that Africa is a very important continent. For Africa is a very important continent. Not just we have to focus on the southern and the western part of this world. No, there's no need to focus on you know, the western part of this world, but we have to focus on countries like Africa as well. The reason is very simple. Africa holds Africa holds 30% of critical mineral of entire world. So पूरे वर्ल्ड में जितने क्रिटिकल मिनरल हैं उसमें से 30% क्रिटिकल मिनरल सिर्फ और सिर्फ अफ्रीका में मिलता है। ठीक है, इसकी वजह से अफ्रीका का जो इम्पोर्टेंस है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है। अब ऐसा नहीं है कि इंडियन गवर्नमेंट इज़ नॉट वर्किंग, एक्चुअली इंडियन गवर्नमेंट इज़ वर्किंग टायरलेसली to you know to have a lot of avenues for Indians in this in Africa. But the biggest problem that we are facing today is that China is working aggressively in South Africa. Recently, it has organized a summit of more than 50 African nations, and China is spending extravagantly. If you need $1, China will give you $5. So with that kind of approach, China is working actually. So there's just a lot of things have been done recently. The amendment made to the Mines and Minerals Act 1957 now resulted in the Mines and Mineral Amendment Bill 2020-23, removing six minerals from the atomic list, thus allowing the private sector to explore these in India. So basically, by introducing this amendment in 2023, what central government has done that they have excluded six minerals from the atomic list. Now, once these particular minerals were excluded from the atomic list, private sectors can explore these minerals in India. Now, there was this particular joint venture. The name of the venture was Kabel, Khanij Bidesh India Limited. So the joint venture, it was a joint venture was, and this particular joint venture Kabel was founded in 2019, and this particular venture was constituted for lithium exploration and mining. Now we have to understand that this was the actually word which we have discussed on the first page, nascent. So we have to understand that if we actually want to grow and establish this kind of a world dominance, then we have to make a lot of investment in the African countries. This is not for their benefit, this is for our own benefit. The Africans will not get a lot of benefit from this. Africa holds 30% of the critical mineral of entire world. So Africa does not have proper resources to excavate those things. So that's why China is investing heavily in these particular countries. Now India is also investing, but again China is way ahead of us. Some prominent figure has recently made the statement that if we talk about manufacturing, so where China was in 2005, India is in 2025. So we are exactly 20 years behind China. So also the kind of diaspora that India have in Africa, over 3 million Indians are there in Africa. So we can make a lot of pressure on the African governments as well, that the lot of Indians are living in your continent. Now, there's this one example which have been presented that why Africa is very important. That in 2022-23, the bilateral trade between the African countries and India was at $98 billion. So in 2022-23, the bilateral trade between India and African countries was at $98 billion. Now this particular and out of this $98 billion, $43 billion were related to mining and mineral sector. So that's why Africa becomes very important. That the minerals in Africa are actually these are assets for future. These are the assets for future, because we have not explored a lot of things, that what kind of minerals can be used as raw material for what thing. So that is the only reason that why Africa becomes very important, and we have to understand the role of Beijing as well, because we do not have good relations with the China, we do not have good relations with China. India shares our relationship with China. So the China has a great dominance over African countries. So keeping this thing in mind, India has to take a lot of hard steps when it comes to mining in Africa. So this is, I guess, this is a movie scene from Rockstar. So recently, this joint parliamentary committee, which was constituted for the Waqf bill, which was headed by Jagdambika Pal. Now, this particular, panel, this particular JPC Joint Parliamentary Committee, which has 31 members, 21 from Lok Sabha, 10 from Rajya Sabha, have received over 8 lakh petitions from publics and institutions. So this particular panel, which is headed by Jagdambika Pal, is going have to do a lot of hard work. Have to do a lot of hard work because they have received over 8 lakh petitions from the public and institutions. Now, I don't understand these kind of actually during the time of elections why political parties make these kind of statements. Now, there is this particular political party, Jammu and Kashmir People's Conference (JKPC). So they have promised in their election manifesto that once they have elected, they will restore Article 370 and Article 35A of the Indian Constitution, which was abrogated in 2019. On 5th of August 2019, Government of India has abrogated Article 370 and Article 35A. And so I don't understand how a state government, how a state government can reinstate these articles of constitution. And also, uh, this news is very disturbing. I got very disturbed when I saw this particular news headline. Again, this is the headline, so there is no reliability. But again, the statement was made by the parents of the victim. So the importance and the gravity of this particular statement is very great that police offered the money when the victim was in the hospital, when the victim was dead, she was not sent for the post-mortem. During that particular time, these police officers, this incompetent police officers from Kolkata, have offered some money to the victim's family. How disgraceful is that? That a person was brutally raped and murdered, and police knew that fact that this particular the girl has been murdered and raped. And why I'm saying this particular thing with utmost conviction, but the reason is very simple. The police has been doing same thing again and again for the last so many years. उनको बॉडी देख के नहीं पता चलता है कि इस पर्टिकुलर विक्टिम के साथ क्या हुआ होगा. So उसके बावजूद if you are offering money to the parents, that means that you have nothing to live for. You have actually sold everything. Your personality does not have a single thing. So this is the level of Kolkata police, and this is the actual level of Trinamool Congress. How stoop they can act. I don't understand. So let's move. So the Board of Reliance Industries has approved the bonus shares of one with the ratio of 1:1, which means that the person who is holding one share will get additional one share. So this is also very important, and this is the sixth bonus share which is issued by Reliance Corporation. The last bonus share was issued in 2017. Now we are moving into the business sector. We are moving into the international sector. So two news items are very important for when we talk about when it comes to international section. So after the snap polls in France, there was this political turmoil in France, but because of the Olympics, things got relaxed. Now in France, there have been a very significant change. The ruling party or the president Emmanuel Macron has appointed Michel Barnier as the next prime minister of France. He has replaced Gabriel Attal, a 35-year-old man. He has been now replaced with Michel Barnier. So Michel Barnier is the new prime minister of France. And the second important news that is coming all the way from China, we have already discussed it, that during this China Africa summit where 50 representatives have participated, where the representative from 50 African countries participated in that particular summit. China has pledged that it will invest $50 billion over a period of 3 years, over the period of next 3 years, that between 2024 to 25, 25 to 26, and 26 to 27. In these three financial years, China will invest around $50 billion in African countries to generate a lot of, and it will, this $50 billion will generate a lot of employment in African countries. So basically, this particular announcement is also very important. And why India is, why India need to, you know, make itself prepared because of this China factor. China is playing a very important role in, not an important role. China is playing important role for their countrymen. But as an Indian, this we have to understand that our main threat is China only. And because of this mineral exploration, Africa becomes very important. And China was knowing these things long back. So that's why they are doing a lot of investment in Africa. And we should also learn some things from China, that if you want to have this feeling, if you want to get this kind of feeling that the world should feel you, that you are a kind of a world superpower, then your pocket should be very deep. Your pocket should be very deep and filled. The reason is very simple. How correct we are morally, that is not important if we are not able to help people at the time when they need. So we need to have a lot of fun, so that also that we can invest a lot of we can make a lot of investment in other countries as well. So this is philosophy. We'll skip this particular point at there only, at that point only. Now we'll move to the next important news headline. It is coming from the sports section, or from Paris Paralympics. So India has now won total 5 gold, 9 silver, and 11 bronze, taking the medal tally to 25. So this is the best performance of India at any Paralympics. So this is a kind of a great news. So we are getting a lot of medals from Paralympics, total 25 medals till date, whereas in Olympics we got only six, five bronze and one silver. And in Paralympics we got five gold, nine silver, and 11 bronze. So Paralympians are also performing well. So with this, we have completed the news analysis of 6th of September 2024. So today it took some extra time to cover the newspaper analysis, because today we have a lot of content to cover. We have discussed a lot of important aspect as well. Assam Accord, Act East policy, Look East policy, then important words. We have saw this targeted public distribution system, nuances, leakages. So this was it. This was all for 6th of September 2024. And I'll say it again and again. Now I'll say it one more time, that if you have any kind of doubt, then you can post your questions in the comment section. I will definitely answer those questions. And if you have liked this particular video, then do like a video, and also subscribe to Success Mantra Digital channel. Hope you guys are good. So with this, we'll wrap up this session. We will meet tomorrow again, same timing, same platform. So thank you so much for watching today's video analysis. Thank you so much.